Here we go, guys. Back for another episode. Before we start, I would just like to say thank you for all the kind messages that we've got through the previous episodes. It's been really good that we're reaching out to our audience so far and hoping to expand and get this out to more people. So if you know anyone, tell them about it. Spread the word. We've got lots of messages and habits and help for your fitness and your health and lifestyle to hopefully keep pushing on with all our messages and get you guys fitter, healthier, and just understand life a little bit better. So on today's episode we're going
over some recovery protocols. Today we're going to talk about one of the main things that we've had a massive experience with and had to work on a lot is sleep. Yeah. For your first couple of weeks or kind of month or so back into the gym, okay, structures change definitely again post-lockdown. So now, it's time to get the most out of your training, and that comes in the gym that we've divulged and we'll go into more, but also the outside with sleep. So, just to start off with, I know you've got a good story about sleep.
What we plan to do here, so today the topic is going to be over sleep habits. So we're going to give you our top 5 of sleep habits, starting from 1 being the one you should really focus on, drifting down to 5 where you should be like, okay, I can work on it, but it's not, it's important, but number 1, obviously look at the most important, 1, 2, down to 5. So 1 being the most important, 5 being still important, but if you work all 5, you're going to see the benefit. And the way I always say to people is that we all go to the gym to better our life, okay? Mm-hmm. Whether it's to your fitness or performance, if you're doing a sport or some sort, or if it's just for like your longevity, which I really preach on about, like getting old gracefully and still moving well. You come here for, as some people could like, normally the class is about an hour. Some people, when they're training on their own, could be an hour and a half to 2 hours. Now, that's hours done of the day. You've now got the rest of the day. So if it's, 23 to 22 hours now, to really rectify and make that hour better for when you come next. So they work hand in hand. So the hour you're in here is trying to make your life better, but to perform better in that hour, you now really need to focus on the next 23. Exactly. And that all dials down to sleep, nutrition, recovery, stress, de-stressing, which we're going to go over on habits. So this one is mainly about sleep, which we think is probably the most important one to start with, because if you haven't got a good sleep pattern, or what they call a circadian rhythm, then that's like the number 1 we're going to start with. Really is consistent bedtime.
It's the base of your pyramid of anything. Kind of, I think like nutrition and exercise is always linked as like, you've got to eat well to then train. Sleep's always been a little bit missed, but then like reading back in bodybuilders in the day, like they used to go gym, train, gym, sleep again, like be sleeping in between all their sessions throughout the day.
And even have naps in the day as well.
So it's all just about eat, sleep and train. So I think the first thing, just to kick it off, as number 1, we see, and these are our personal top 5s through our own experiences. And as we go through, we'll kind of give some highlights of how we've messed up sleep for years.
I completely lost my circadian rhythm. Like when I used to do, like working on the door work. So obviously, going to bed different times, working late, working few jobs. It was just chaos, but I didn't know anything about that then. I really was a believer back then, like, as long as I get like a couple of hours sleep, I can keep going. But
live off pound.
And you can get yourself into a real stuck rut of a routine where you will run off like real low sleep and you think you can just push through it, but eventually it will catch up with you later on down the line in life. And that's when you really don't want those problems because, you've probably got your grandkids now and you're looking to stay alive and be there for the family. And that's when shit will really start to go wrong. And it can be earlier. It could be, we all know that if you're under recovered, you're more liable for injury. And you're going to hurt yourself in the gym. So you can keep pushing. And then the body's just going to go, right, I've had enough. Like something's going to go.
For you spent like years not getting enough sleep, and you're still, even now, you've found a lot better position in years after.
So I'd say once I stopped doing the night work in 2017, mid 2017, it probably took me the best part of more than a year to to get my
to a rhythm.
To a rhythm, to get myself into a good rhythm where I'm now sleeping a good consistent 7-8 hours. My training was feeling better. I definitely wasn't feeling as achy and sore, which I always thought I had mobility problems, but that came from lack of recovery. Probably dehydrated a lot of the time as well, because I can remember if I'm standing there working nights and stuff that, you know, bad habit of eating, because now you think I'm awake longer in the day. So, and then when you're there, the other bad habits will come in. You get
sugar,
hungry, you crave sugar, you sleep, you want a Red Bull, and you know all the stuff you don't take into consideration, but it all starts to add up. So, yeah, it took me a while. I did get a root band to help me understand my recovery a little bit more, which I really do recommend if you're messed up and you want to start analysing your sleep a bit better. So if you're getting into your deep sleep, targeting that REM sleep where your brain's going to recover a lot more. And yeah, it took me the best part of over a year to get a rhythm and pull it back. And
I, like, just going onto the Whoop band quickly, I've never personally used one, but reading a lot of data from them. They've got some great blogs, some great podcasts. So I think
to understand it.
Yeah, the main thing about that is ultimately it just brings awareness. Like you talk about kind of anything, the first thing you got to do, like you notice you maybe have a problem, notice that it's not aligned as it should to what you do, and that can just really highlight that.
Oh, it just highlights
in an easy way where it's like data, metrics,
and then
numbers.
And then as well, if once you go, this is probably another complete podcast on the route, but then you've got your strain, so which is like your working day sort of stuff, your output. So you can really start to balance when you're monitoring that and you've had a poor sleep, but you still want to train because, you know, we love to train and it is still good for your mental health. You'll know how to limit that training session. Go, right, okay, yeah, I'm not showing a good sign of recovery here, but I can still move. I can still go and do it, but I'm just not going to go whapping into like a Fran workout.
Yeah, going full out for 3 minutes. And,
even though that's a really short workout, like it's going to take you
stress,
too off. So yeah, I can't preach more enough. Trying to find consistent bedtime, and when we mean by consistent bedtime, it really is a 7-day-a-week effort. Like I know the weekend comes and I still do like to stay up a little bit later, but then I've got the option to stay in bed a little bit later, but that's still not great for your circadian rhythm because your circadian rhythm literally runs day to day.
Oh, if you have like it kind of nailed and your circadian rhythm is the same and you wake up same time every day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, and go to bed the same, you'll find you'll have like little points in the day where you will have those little lulls, but they'll be the exact same point. And ultimately, it's just creating. It is rhythm. Life is about rhythm. Life is about structure and having rhythm.
And you can see the first sign of rhythm is the sun rising and the sun going down. That's how you can see that we've completely evolved into more of an unnatural thing. So as soon as technology and electricity come around, that started to really pull apart people's circadian rhythm, because now you've got unnatural light keeping you up lighter. You've got street lamps that are not really beneficial for the same thing. And what I mean by that is that they can simulate the UV of the sun. So it's like that can...
Your natural instincts like, I need to be awake.
So if you're connected when the sun goes down, normally that would be a time back in the day, like, okay, time to wind down. But now we can be up till 2, 3, we could be up all night with these stimulated lights. So
yeah, that's kind of like, we'll get down into... That's a point a little bit down the line, but trying to create consistency. And yeah, it is... Unfortunately, like as you kind of just touched on, like society nowadays is not made to a point where consistency where we do go up and down with or go to sleep and wake up with the sun and the moon is allowed. Like think about when you're at school in the winter, you'd be waking up, it's pitch black, you'd be walking to school in the dark. So there is things that you can do through like light stimulation in like the dark months to allow for a better rhythm. But creating structure through like that should be like the start. It's like the start and the bookend of your day.
Definitely start.
The wake and the sleep is, and it creates structure that can fit in everything else. Your energy levels will be so much more natural. They'll be better. Yeah, you will get a little lull through the middle of the day,
and you'll find that over time you won't need an alarm clock. No. Your body will wake up on that time. It will start to wake up on that time. And then you'll start to get tired at night at a good time, and you'll start to sleep better.
Because you've got that rhythm.
Because you've got a rhythm, and your body knows, and it's starting to go, right, it's time to sleep. And once you get into the other stuff we go on about, you'll be ready to go off within five minutes. Because I know a lot of people go, "Well, I suffer from insomnia," and a lot of it just comes from bad habits.
Yeah, oh yeah, up and down.
Over years and years and years. If you've been doing bad habits for 10 years, obviously it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Like with me, it took me a good part of a year or more to get back into a good rhythm. But that was with me being consistent and understanding why and what I had to do to pull it back. So yeah, definitely I think number one, routine.
Yeah, all it is at the end of the day, we're just kind of chemical reactions happening throughout the body and the brain, and yeah, it's the pressure of sleep that builds through the day to then in turn allow you to fall asleep better in the evening. You've got higher peaks of melatonin, so you'll have a better sleep. If that's all over the place, the chemical reactions are like, don't have a clue what they're doing. They're not going to be releasing the same sleep pressure at the same rate every single day. Yeah. So, yeah, trying to nail that. We understand that, like, you've just had a new baby.
Got a new baby, so
girl,
now.
So that's...
And as you can see, I'm not wearing a Whoop band because.
Drive you crazy. You're like,
because on the same aspect of it working well for you and getting you to understand, if you've got something that's a complete blocker, like now I've had a newborn, I know now my sleep is going to be inconsistent. I'm going to have quite a bit of broken sleep, but I wanted to challenge myself now without my band. I will wear my band again. I love the Root band, and for when I get back stuck into like harder training and progressional training, I will use it because it's such a good recovery protocol. But at the moment, I feel like now I know my own body, so I can feel now. So I can now know from time of sleep, broken sleep, how I'm going to train the next day. And for me at the moment, mine is just a tick over sort of training style. So I'm quite happy with that for the next few months, however long it is, before she can get into a rhythm of herself without breaking my night up for feeding. But it's because I know so much about it now that I can do that. But I wouldn't advise you guys to go, I'm going to throw it off now if you don't know what to do and you're not understanding what to do.
Yeah, there's going to be times in life, like you have kids or you're traveling a lot for work, or you've got certain projects on that you're not going to be able to have consistency throughout 80 years of your life. It's just not the way life kind of works. But then understanding those points, and as you said, like it's almost creating like a band-aid approach for that time, where you can get as much as possible, get good quality, even if it is less, even if it's 5 hours. And there's stuff that you can use in terms of nighttime routines that we'll speak about, like supplementations and like loads of little tricks and tips. But understanding it is like a band-aid approach just for that time, and other things are going to get affected. Your eating habits will potentially get affected. Your training, as you said, now you've just dialed it back a lot because you know that you're not going to be able to recover from those hard strength days at high intensity and all that information. So,
and you've got to understand, if you are on a strength program or you're trying to get strong and your sleep is very limited, you're just not going to get strong.
No.
That's where you grow. That is where you develop, and that's where. So if we look at our number one is consistent routine bedtime. Now we can look at number two, which is how long you should sleep, how many hours. So if you look at a baby and you see that they sleep, 12 hours or more,
they're sleeping like 12,
why do they do that?
hours.
It's because they're in such a development growth stage. They're rapidly growing. So that's when they grow. That's when everything develops. That's the same with human beings, even when we get older. Obviously,
with teenagers.
So it's actually like the older you get, the less sleep you need, until you get to a point where it is for most adults now, like between, I'd say 7-9 hours is a great target. 7 being on you're touching on
7.5 to 9, I think is what, as data has shown, is a pretty sweet spot.
And that's where you grow. So if you are in a strength program, if you are doing something like exams, that's another thing we can touch on. That's where your brain will recover. So when you wake up in the morning, your brain's ready to go again. So if you haven't got that good consistent sleep,
when we say 7 to 9 hours, it's not just in bed like, I got into bed at 11 and I got up at 6. It's not just like, I got into bed and I was awake for an hour. Like it is sleep time. It's how long you're asleep. But going back to kind of like if you're doing exams and memories and kind of when you're a kid, as you said, you need longer sleep. When you're a teenager, think how much you get to a point where you're going through puberty and you're changing massively. Your mind, your chemicals are like synapses are changing in your brain. You're developing loads. So I remember when I was a teenager, I'd be sleeping. My
Till
mum
1
would
o'clock
always,
in the day.
mum would be knocking on the door like, "Wake up, wake up!" You're right. But no. If you've got teenage kids, let them sleep. Okay, there's probably a limit. Don't take this for gospel.
Obviously you want to start getting them into a rhythm. Right, stop being a lazy.
At the same time,
but at the same time, that is recovery, especially if your kid is doing exams or highly active, or even if they're underactive,
they're just developing.
You will sleep more, and that's where you got to find the balance for them to then go right. You need an active lifestyle, because we all know that too much sleep can be, if not worse. You know, I've had those days where I've probably woke up and then I forced myself back to sleep, and then I've woke up 4 hours later and I'm like, I feel like I've got a hangover.
You've just woken up in the wrong.
And that's that
sleep.
over step of the sleep where it's like, yes, you can do too much sleep as well.
Yeah, but when I say like, you should 7 to 9 hours of like pure sleep time, we're talking about unbroken, trying to get it to a point where you don't wake up in the night. Okay, because as you go through, like I think the Whoop band shows it really nicely. You get the
stages, light sleep.
Stages.
So the majority of your sleep will be light sleep.
Yeah.
And then you'll move into your deep sleep, which is where the muscles and everything recover. And then you've got your rapid eye movement, the REM. That's all brain.
That's where you're reaffirming like the things from the day. It's all about signals from the front and back. So
and from what I read, I think as well, your last bit of
is
the greatest part,
most important.
The most important part of your REM is literally just before you wake up.
It's like that last hour.
That's that last bit of the night. So it shows you how important to try and get
uninterrupted.
That's it, uninterrupted sleep. So if you're a person who's into a habit of going to the toilet in the night, you're probably drinking your fluids way too close to your bedtime, and now you've built in a habit that you need to knock out. Hydration is very important. That's another topic. Make sure you drink your daily water intake throughout the day, and have a cut-off point at night where you go, okay, if I'm going to bed at say 9 o'clock, I'm probably going to cut my intake 7 o'clock.
Yeah, even if you haven't consumed the amount you want throughout the day, don't try and cram, because you're just going to be pissing in the night.
You're just going to get pissing in the night.
Or have those dreams where you think you're about to go for a toilet and you wake up, rush to the toilet.
Or you've missed that rush and you've wet the bed.
I've done that plenty of times. The most important thing is those last couple of hours, and that does come after full cycles. It works the exact same as your circadian rhythm. Like you've got full cycles of sleep that go up and down through light to real deep. And back in when you're a kid, you're like, I gotta wake up, I stay up late, cramming for exams. You've got exams coming up, and then you're like, I gotta get to school. You don't sleep. You're not doing yourself any favors, because that last point is where you're taking memories from the front of your brain, from like the short-term storage to the back. So that's the most important thing, and that comes at the end of a long cycle. So there's obviously loads of things why you might be waking up in the night, and we're not like sleep experts. We've just researched a lot and enjoy this subject. So if you do really struggle, like there's sleep scientists and sleep doctors out there, and like now it's actually, the good thing is it's coming to the forefront of people's mind of how important it is, rather than just being like, go to bed late, wake up early, be a hard worker. And then it, like,
just for reference, we've mentioned this book before, but Why We Sleep. If you really want to read a lot more, you've pretty much got everything in there you need to know. It's a great read. I've gone through it a few times, bits and bobs, picked out, gone back. It makes a lot of sense, and that was again, I should have said that was a book that changed me in 2007, because that's when I found it, and that's when I started to really understand about that. And then I've got obviously the Whoop band to help me out, but it was that book that changed my mind completely. Like, once I started to read about the illnesses you can create from the loss of sleep, a lot of illnesses, and that's what was like, holy shit, I don't want to get
potential shortening of life. Unfortunately, I know, like he talks about it more. He's like a 25 years sleep researcher. He's been doing it for his whole life. But the potential changes that you can create for that. But then also the unknown. So like dreams. They're something that's still kind of a lot of...
I love dreams.
But they're very vivid, and there's a lot of hypotheses to do with like the memory bank, the emotions,
and we all know that your dreams is what's you've seen throughout the day. Like
Yeah,
you can have
but
bizarre
in a
dreams,
more
but
creative
in a
manner.
creative manner. But once you start going, if you can remember your dream when they're really good, and you start going back, you go, oh, that I see something similar to that on the TV, or I was talking a conversation with someone, and that's bedded into your dream, and that's just where your subconscious mind just runs wild.
I've
and
had some fucking
gets,
wild dreams.
gets creative,
recently,
and that is very, very important. And so with stuff like that, you've got to remember that things like alcohol are blockers.
Oh, yeah, you have 10 pints, and now the pubs are open, you have 10 pints, and yeah, you're going to sleep like a baby if you don't throw up everywhere first. You're going to be flat out, but that's not sleep, that's pass out.
It's pass out, yeah. It's like sedative
Sedative
sleep.
sedative.
It's not the great sleep. It's like if you go to have an operation and they put you out,
You wake up groggy.
It's horrendous, and that's why it's such a risk for the older you get, and some people can't be pulled out because it really is not a natural state to go to sleep.
No.
So things like alcohol, and I even think is it weed or smoking?
Yeah, they all have an effect
as well.
They all definitely have an effect on your sleep. But just getting the correct hours as well. But like going back to the dreams quickly, with in terms of dreams, you realize once you get into a better routine and state with your dreams, you'll dream better because, as you said, it comes in that kind of end cycle.
So just as and that's why you remember it, because it's just at the end when you wake up and you'll be like, oh, what was that dream? And then sometimes you can fall asleep and go straight back into that dream, and that's it. That's when you're
trying to like lay there trying to go back into that dream because it was like a really good
it could
one.
even be a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
So they can be quite rough as well.
But there's still something quite unknown, which is kind of fascinating about it. Like, as I said, had some wild dreams recently.
So there we go. Hours are important. Make sure you got your routine down, your routine check for your hours. So these number one and number two really play hand in hand together. Yeah. So it's being consistent, bedtime, routine, and then the hours that look at it's like a day's work. That's your day's work to recover. Go to bed and sleep.
And in relation to like how to improve the hours, like if you're getting 5, 6 now, like it's going to be not an impossible task, but it's going to be an incredibly hard task to go from sleeping 5 hours to being like, okay, now I need to sleep 8.
Yeah.
Do it in smaller chunks.
Yeah.
Like 15 minutes is that's it. Nail that for 2 weeks. Get to bed 15 minutes earlier for 2 weeks, and then add an extra 15 minutes, because as we all know, there's probably a time like you're like, I need to be up really early. You get into bed early and you're laying there like, okay, I can't sleep. And that goes back to the rhythm.
Build a routine for your bedtime. Set a plan for how you're going to go.
Just like training. Periodize it and plan it. And
look at it as like when you come to training, you do a warm-up for your training. Think of it as like building a warm-up to go to bed. Okay, so your warm up is other things we're going to touch on now.
Yeah,
but obviously
warming up. You got to anyway. Sorry, I just interrupted your flow. You just linked it perfectly to the rest of it. And I fucked it up.
But yeah, it's like look at it as like a warm up. So and do the same warm up, or change the warm up. But look at it like a warm up to go to bed, and that can start an hour and a half before. So we all know like. Let's go. What can we say? Like, so if we tap into number 3 is going to be like stimulants.
Yeah.
So another thing could be now like, right, watch the time of day you do your stimulants.
Yeah, massively.
Because so stimulants meaning a cup of coffee, a pre-workout.
Oh, it can also be
energy-based, high sugar.
But then also like the screens, as we spoke about. Like,
screens.
Yeah, and then stimulants can be like, we do think about the caffeine, and that's what we're going to go into a lot. But then, think about external light. Think about even like reading a book that's all about, I don't know, Jack the Ripper. Like it's going to make your mind. That's mentally stimulating.
Absolutely,
so loads of different ways that it can come. But I think the main thing that we definitely see, being part of a gym and just in general, is the caffeine or coffee or the
need, and that's a telltale sign of straight away that your natural rhythm is out, because you're looking for that boost. So you either have that kick in the morning. I've slipped into definitely bad habits of pre-workouts and stuff like that to get me going. But I have got a very high tolerance of caffeine. But one thing I stick to, one rule completely whenever I'm using stimulants or not, I stopped by say 12 o'clock in the day. There's no more. I have no more stimulants going from the afternoon into the evening. Absolutely not, because it will affect how I can get to sleep.
Well,
for
I
sure.
know. I've been around when you've had that, like, you've made that, like, and like we all make these errors, not errors, but we always make these little judgment calls at the time, and there's times where I've done it. I know you've done it. I've been here having a knocker at 2, and then you're like, I'm like, come in the next day, like, how do you sleep? Oh, fucking
I start hitting pre-workouts like I'm going to a rave. As soon as I get that feeling, I'm like, I want more of this. Yeah, and that's a bad habit.
Yeah, that's something completely different.
Going away, like I'm going to Ibiza, but I'm just doing a training session. Yeah. So, and I've done that, and I've been at night, and I'm up at 12 in the bed like this, going
like regretting decisions, like shit.
Massively regret. And I know it was coming throughout the day. I was going, yeah, I'm not going to get to sleep tonight. I shouldn't have had that pre-workout so late, or I shouldn't have done that amount of pre-workout. So definitely that light is a massive thing.
Yeah,
light is a massive stimulant.
As we spoke about, with like the sleep and consistent bedtime, and yeah, we're sitting in a well-lit gym, but actually it's getting a lot lighter now. So, and that's the thing, change of season. Like now it's getting lighter. The sun's coming up at 6 o'clock, so it's going down a little bit later. So yeah, there's going to be those discrepancies in sleep throughout the year.
Yeah,
there is loads of things like that you can use to help manipulate like what the situation is now. So in the winter you can get, what I've got is a beautiful thing. It's a wake up light, so it gradually wakes up, gradually lights up over a half an hour period. So it wakes you up more naturally.
I would love one of them, but the problem I have is that my wake up time to my partner's time is about a 2 hour gap.
Yeah, so you'll be getting loaded.
So she'll be waking up and not be very happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they are awesome. Like, but if you're both getting up at the same time, fantastic. But if you're like me, unfortunately, you won't be able to use one.
No, you get up at 5. But then, then there's things. There's I think it's called a sad lamp. I don't know why, but
sad lamp.
But a sad lamp that you use, it basically creates you manipulate light in the darker months. So yeah, get up, get downstairs, coffee, breakfast, whatever. Put your sad lamp on, and it's another way of stimulating yourself to wake up. But on the flip side, nighttime, removing light from the night.
Yeah,
I think, yeah,
it's very important. So darkening your house, like I know salt lamps is a great way.
It's like red and natural.
It's a natural light, and that's what you want to look for. You want to look for those really toned down lights that are not representing that bright UV like the screens. I know, like on your phones and everything now, you've got you can get the natural dimmer to come in, but I still think a bit of blue light gets through that.
Apart from there's that one.
The hack that I've done where you get the red light and you can put that onto your, what's it called, the quick action. Tap the button 3 times, it turns it red. That's if you need to be on it that late. Or blue blocker glasses is another great thing to wear. Get your blue blocker glasses. So if you are someone who has to be emailing quite late, definitely get your blue blockers on, a good few hours before bedtime. You'll be surprised. It will definitely help you out, wind down,
Yeah, to like alleviate having to get all these little hacks to bypass it. Just remove it. Yeah, like going from watching TV straight to bed, you're not going to get sleep that well.
No.
You're going to be like wide awake. So, and then we can really link it back to the goals. What I know people use television and use other forms just to kind of be something where they're not having to mentally think, and they can just like wind down after a day. But what other ways, what things can you add in that create the same thing, but they benefit you towards your goal? Yeah,
so you could look at a little stretch routine to do at night time.
Stretch routine.
Bit of meditation.
Even just going out in the evening for like a half an hour walk.
Half an hour walk, a bit of breathing work, something that's winding you down and letting you start to move into a relaxation point. Reading a book before bed.
As you said, not stimulating.
Not stimulating
like
book.
Yeah,
so it's something that's your 2-3 pages and it makes you nod off, which is pretty much every book for me. So
Why We Sleep? It's a great book for that.
It's a great book, but it took me a long time to read. So I turned over to audio book and I used that for when I was doing my walk-ins. Like I say, where I've always had dyslexia. Reading is a struggle. Not I can't read, but I read too fast, so I miss out parts.
Yeah,
So
you just kind of make it
I
up,
can
fill
read,
in the gaps.
I can read something, then I can go back and read it again, and it's a completely different story.
Yeah.
So that's for me audio. But then again, if you are at night time putting an audio book in, are you looking at your phone? So it's like,
yeah, and I think the main thing is just trying to get a shift in. It's all about the nervous system. You're just getting a shift in your nervous system. You're just going from like a fight or flight, a high stress daily, where most of us live. It's like loads of work. We've got to deal with kids. We've got to deal with training. All of this. It's just trying to flip the switch and get you like relaxed, more calm, and that's a mental state as well as physical.
oh yeah.
And yeah, removing those stimulants
all plays into like, look, through all these 5 habits we're going through today, again, it's your warm up to bed.
Yeah.
They all start before bed. Start using these habits before bed. It's your warm up to get you into a good sleep.
You brush your teeth every night. I hope you do.
Yeah, brush your teeth.
And that's something that over time is just habitual. You probably don't even think about brushing your teeth. You're just like, never. Toilet, brush your teeth, do whatever you need to do and go to bed. And this is where you can create these habits as well.
Yeah.
And it will become something so ingrained if you really want it and you do it for consistently enough, make it stuff easy. Like brushing your teeth, there's some it's really easy to do that you do all the time, but you can add something on top of what you're doing already.
Bit mouthwash.
Like brush your teeth, turn the lights off, turn on a salt lamp if you got one, play some relaxing music, or just focus on your breathing, or like loads of little different ways to do. But
winding down.
yeah, a big thing as well is removing the stimulants with caffeine orientated.
Definitely like that. That's it. Early in the day, you shouldn't. If you are needing like cups of coffee throughout the day to keep you going, it goes back to point one. So we already know we can see a deficiency in your energy rhythm, which ties into your circadian rhythm. So that needs to be adjusted and fixed. And then if you do finish work late at night and then you're coming in and you're going, oh, I need more caffeine, that's going to affect your recovery. So you're going to come in, hammer your hour of training, and now more likely go back, and then you've got to do all stuff in your well-lit house, and then you feel like, I need to watch a bit of TV because you want your downtime, you want your switch off time. And I understand that. Like, I like watching maybe a TV series because that switches me off from my work because my mind can overrun. But then if you're going to do that, then maybe watch it in blue blockers.
Yeah.
That's going to stop that blue light, and then you can still do those sort of activities because I still think it's very important to switch off from your work, because that's the only way you're going to really get into that sort of like parasympathetic nervous system wind down, is switching off from the stuff that keeps you in the fight. So that's what I mean. This is all a lot of info, but if you start playing part to part to part, you're going to start to see your hour in your gym develop more.
Hell yeah.
And that's the important part.
Yeah, and as you said at the beginning, we're so resilient as a human being. We're like a car. You think, okay, you have to go sort your car out every now and again, but cars are pretty damn fucking reliable. They're pretty damn good, and the body is even better than that.
Yeah, and look how well you look after well, if you do look after your car, but look how well you
have the MOT.
You change the tyres, you top it up with oil, you put the water in, because without those things, your car's not going to run.
And this is your constant daily MOT.
So this is your daily MOT. Look after, and it starts with the sleep.
Yeah, and we can kind of link this back to the burnout. Like we did a couple of episodes ago. I remember, I know from my experiences, like in my early 20s, like first found CrossFit, working night shift, working like 5 a.m. shifts, come in to train, do a session, go home, eat, come back, do another session because I thought I was a pro athlete. Then and then go to bed at like 12, and did that for months because I was young and I was resilient, and then it just hit me. Bang.
And that's a good thing that actually we've missed out on, is that when you're young, you can go on and on and on. Like you say, I remember when I was in my 20s and I was doing my bodybuilding, playing Xbox all night, going out. I was like, wow, you're durable. You're very durable. You can get away with it, but it's still, if you don't put these protocols in at that young age, imagine the gains you're missing out on.
Yeah, oh,
You know,
missed
like,
out
I
on
look back and I
massive
think,
amounts.
wow, I could have been probably double the athlete I was back then.
If your strength
If I
was
spent a
double,
bit
that was
more-
fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It could have. So
Yeah,
where I
yeah,
found
yeah.
those plateaus and those roadblocks, like with my bench and the squat back then,
Shit, yeah, you talk.
that could have been it. Where I was thinking, right, I need more body weight to get past that bench plateau.
It was just-
It's probably a pure and under recovered, that I just wasn't getting enough sleep and enough recovery to optimize getting stronger in that plateau on my bench.
Yeah,
Lesson learned.
Yeah, for sure. And
Lesson learned.
if you're into if you're into CrossFit, which I presume most of the listeners are, like Matt Fraser talks about it loads. What did he revolutionize in the sport? He just revolutionized lifestyle. Like he just talks to the end about sleep. He lived such a meticulous life, and 5 times games champ. Everyone was like, "Oh, Rich," and no one's ever going to do it again.
Yeah.
But he did, because he nailed the other things bar the training.
So I just listened to him on the Joe Rogan podcast, which was really good. And just to cut this short about it, what Matt Fraser said, lesson learned, was when he lost and came second to Rich Froning, I think was 2000.
No, Ben Smith came second in 2015. 2014 he came second to Rich.
2014.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
when he lost to
Rich.
because he could have won it. When he lost that one, if he goes on about his habits before that, so he'd be staying up late, eating ice cream, and then Jerry's ice cream.
That's where you took it from.
And then after that, that's when he realised and got in and learnt more about recovery. And then you can see the difference. He just came back and win.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't have done that, we maybe not have seen the Matt Fraser we've seen today, because
No. But and you can see the difference, because it's, I know they all probably do it. We're going a little bit off tangent, but I know they all probably do it. But he was just so meticulous, and we're not saying you have to be at that level, because unless you want to be
the champion, then you have to be at that level.
At something else, like you might want to be, the CEO of the company you're in. Like, sleep. That's a key thing. But just kind of last couple of points to wrap it up. I think, like as we said, there's just a hierarchy of importance to help initiate sleep. If you really struggle, we spoke about removing light, just changing your body temperature, like in a dark room,
Big.
nice and cold.
I tell you what, when I blacked out my room, what a difference that made to sleeping. Because if you unfortunate enough and you've got a street lamp coming out, and then you've got just a silly wooden blind, that light is coming in, and believe it or not, it's going to affect your sleep. When you can get a blackout blind, so you cannot see in your bedroom, and you get up like me at 5 a.m. and fucking wake your partner up because you're falling over and crashing. That's what you want. You want that blacked out room. That is a good start. So definitely with this, if you're looking to get that consistent bedtime and routine, this is our number 4 habit, but throw that straight in.
Yeah, like I've not, but hold my hand up. I've got curtains, like some shitty old curtains, and like now as it's starting to get lighter, it's like
because
it's like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the light's starting
the
to come
days
in.
are getting longer now.
And I'm waking up with it, because it wakes me up before my alarm, only like by a little bit, but I can see the light just coming through the curtains, so that's something that I need to change. And making that room dark, like cold as well.
Yeah, I turned my radio off and it really does make a difference. Like if you've got that, we all know that. Like imagine when you're on holiday and you fall asleep on the sunbed and then you wake up all sweaty and hot. Yeah. That's why, because your body temperature's uncomfortable. So that's what your covers are for.
You need that change in body temperature to help initiate. Only a couple of degrees internally, but you want to get a colder internal body temperature, so having a cold room will bring more blood to the surface. It will make you
bring
warmer.
More blood. And another way to get your body temperature to drop down is if you do, say, train in the evening, have a nice hot shower or hot bath before bed, because what that does then, it raises your body temperature up, but then once you get into your bed, your body temperature will just drop right down into a nice place where it will just send you into that nice bare habitat in his cave,
warm,
getting ready
fuzzy.
to go to sleep.
So. The amount of time, like everyone's probably had a hot enough bath or shower that they've got out and just felt super sleepy. And that's great. Get into a position where your room is cold. it does make it a little harder in the morning to get up. Like you wake up a lot earlier than I do, but in the winter when your bed's warm and you're all cozy and it's like you got to get to the gym for like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit harder to get up.
Depending, like if you get in your, like for me, when I'm getting my, like if I go to bed at 9, I'm up at 5, so I'm really touching in on that sort of like 7 to 8 hours if I can. Listen, when I'm up in the morning, I'm up and right, I'm up.
It's because you nailed that.
I'm up, yeah. I'm focused and I'm up, you know. But when the sleep is broken, then it's different. It's different. But definitely, you could look at that temperature of your room, blacking out your room,
and then you making it cold, make it just cold and like you're a vampire.
And then making your bed comfortable. Restrictions in your bed, which is our number 5. Clothes. Big baggy pajamas.
Yeah.
Twist up around your arms and. You're waking up, pulling your pajamas out your arse crack. That's
a more recent occurrence.
That you know, get something a little bit more comfortable moving, preferably naked if you can, is a great way to sleep.
Yeah, and invest because it's such a big portion of your life. You think, as you said at the beginning, you've got 24 hours in the day. Say you're getting your 8 hours. That you can do the maths. It takes up a huge portion of your life. You're spending like 10 to 20 years of your life.
It's
asleep.
like nearly half your life in sleep.
Yeah, well, more than 10, 20 years. So invest in something that's comfy. Get some good pillows. Get a nice mattress. It might front end look a little bit expensive, but yeah,
you're on it.
And then, as you said,
treat yourself. That's it. Like for us, we've gone through a couple of mattresses, and we need to get another one again because the one we've got is not good. So I would definitely recommend don't do what we've done and just order one in because it's saying it's all singing or dancing. I would say definitely go to a bed store, get on those mattresses. Part?
Just like laying in just rolling around in John Lewis's bed store.
She took me away on my birthday once to Paris, and we stayed in a lovely hotel. I cannot remember the name, but the bed. Oh my God! It was and I'll tell you,
it wasn't just the bed.
Well, it was. I'll tell you what, it wasn't much life once I got on that bed. The bed was amazing. Like once I got on it, I've never gone to bed sleeping on my back and woken up on my back. I must not have moved. It was that comfortable. And I remember waking up in the morning thinking, oh my God, this bed was amazing. Idiot, I did not write down the mattress or whatever. But honestly, if I had a bed like that, you're going to sleep very well. Yeah, it's very important. So getting comfortable in your bedroom. Don't wear restrictive clothing. Have good, nice sheets.
Help. Yeah, like if you're wearing clothing, like as you said, sleep naked. It's like restricting the body temperature and it's restricting movement. So yeah, be like, and ultimately a lot of these things are just kind of trying to pull people away from bad habits we've created as a society over the years. It's like, what did we used to do when we were like Neanderthal or whatever you believe in?
Once the sun went down, it was dark. Unless you like roaming around in the dark, like there was nothing to do. So then you would go to bed, and then the sun would come up, and that would wake you up. So you had a rhythm and moving through, and that, like I say, that all got spoilt once we had, obviously, our luxury electricity. But electricity, brightened up the world and made people stay up more. And then I'm sure there's studies we can look at with that ties into a lot of other problems down the line, which we're going to research and hopefully bring to the table and get you guys educated with it as like how we are with constantly looking and diving in. We're spoilt now. We can, lucky enough with the internet and stuff like that, we can find out so much information now. Like I remember when I was into training, in my late teens, going into boxing, into bodybuilding, and the internet was still a fresh sort of thing. You could not get this information, and trying to squeeze it out of people was like pretty difficult. But now it's like, wow, you've got so many people you can find stuff good out, and you just got to resonate. I think resonating with people and understanding it is very important, and that's our message here. If you can resonate with this and take things and put these things into play, you are going to see that hour of training develop. Like I say, you pay a membership, you invest into the gym.
You invest in time and money into this.
Into it to obviously make your life better, but it works hand in hand. Now, once you're out of the gym, now invest in your life to make that money you're spending better. It's just simple as that. Otherwise, all you're going to do is come in, spend money, and then you can also, like we say, we know fitness and health can get to a point where fitness can hurt you. If you're not running the recovery protocols, if you're not fixing yourself, you know, you can just start to burn yourself, like they say, burning a candle at both ends.
Yeah.
And like we go back to other podcasts, burnout, such a big topic. You know, you know, I've done it a few times. People are starting to understand and go, yeah, you know, I can feel that. It can be work, it can be lifestyle, it can be stress, it can be all played in. So,
and this will not just will impact your training massively,
impact your life.
Moods, like relationships, and like you'll be mentally sharper. You'll be able to achieve more in a day or get your work done better, and then you have more time outside. So whatever your goal is, like training, whatever, like life,
that's
work,
what I mean. So
this is the base.
So even if you're not a gym goer and you're listening to this podcast, this will help you better at work. So if you are that highs-driven workaholic and you're working hard, if you play these in, it's going to make your workspace better. You're not going to feel as anxious. That can all come from lack of sleep, you know? We know heart disease, everything can come from lack of sleep. There's so many illnesses and diseases you can get from undersleeping. It's that important.
And help stave off loads of things. As you said, like if it's something that you really find interesting and want to divulge more into, Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep is.
It's a great book. It's a good read, and go into that. And then if you're looking for a little bit more data, definitely the Whoop Band. Those two things will really help you out. They really will.
One personal thing I'd say on the Matthew Walker, phenomenal book, and I kind of live by it. It's sort of helped my sleep habits out. Just like any book, kind of don't take it as complete gospel, because there's a lot of things in there that he says, and it's like, okay, if you're not getting your 8 hours, you're gonna die 10 hours. 10 years earlier. It's like, okay, shit. There's time and place for everything, but
yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's right.
Take some bits from it. Because it's a life changing if sleep's kind of just like put to the wayside. So I think
so. That's our 5 habits. So we look at number 1: consistent bedtimes routine, building that circadian rhythm.
Yeah,
definitely that ties in with 2, your hours of sleep. Definitely looking to 7 to 9 hours for both male and females. Then we're looking into stimulants, light stimulant. Substance, the caffeine, stuff like that. Definitely working on lowering them in the day, getting a better light in your house. Then we move into cold, dark, black room, body temperature, and then comfortable with your bed. Number 5. Okay. There's a lot more. We could have lifted 20 here.
These are all like
we've just gone for our 5 that we feel like you can. That is pretty approachable to do. Starting with number 1 being the most serious, and moving down
something for everyone, really.
Yeah, something for everyone. And if you do, and it does wake you up and go, wow, yeah, actually, have a look at your routine. Like I say, you have a warm up for your training. Do your warm up for bed. So start playing these an hour and a half before bed. Start getting your warm up routine for the sleep.
Cool down.
Then that's going to make your training better. It's going to make your life better. It's going to make you happier. And then you can look at all our other habits that we're going to bring out and play them in. And hopefully we're getting you into an all round better shape. And that's it. Better person.
Yeah, if you wanted more information, just reach out.
Please out. Do. Message us on any of our platforms that we've got.
You'll find this stuff on Instagram and on our Facebook and platforms. We'll put them up in a.
And stay stepped on the Instagram. We're going to be putting a lot more posts on there to do with this, and you can always come back and reference a lot of the stuff that we're talking about on there. Push a like button, please. Tell the world about how great we are and that you love watching us. And everyone needs to start watching us. Subscribe to us, because you don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on these important shows that are giving you the best information. But no, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in.
Should be a fucking car salesman.
Yeah, hey, you should sell ice to an Eskimo. Right? But anyway, we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.